Everyone tonight to our February meeting of the Watercolor Society. We have a wonderful demo tonight that's going to be done by Yong Hong Zhong. And first, Jill is going to give us some update and announcements for the Watercolor Society for everybody. There you go, Jill.
Thanks, Andy. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good to see so many of you on the Zoom tonight for our February meeting. I just have a couple of announcements. Just filling in for Dan since he wasn't able to make it tonight. Let's see here. Look at my post-it note. The registration for the spring exhibition has been extended up to February 14th. So you still have a couple more days if you were thinking about getting a piece submitted to the show, or if you've painted someone since registration was supposed to close. You got a couple more days now to get that in. And then speaking of spring, we have registration open for our spring workshop as well. That is going to be with Dan Marshall, who's also going to be our judge and juror for the spring show. We currently only have 8 spots left at last count, so it's filling up really fast. If you're thinking about attending, I would encourage you to do that sooner rather than later. It's only open right now to members of MNWS and the Minnetonka Center for the Arts, but it will open to the general public on the 15th. So if it doesn't fill up before then, it probably will. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that we are looking for a workshop co-chair to take over for me so that I'm not filling 2 board positions anymore. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to anyone on the board really, and they'll make sure that gets forwarded over to the right people. And all those emails are listed on the website, so you could find that info there. I believe that does it for announcements for tonight. So I'll turn it back over to Andy and Britt.
Okay, thanks, Jill. I'm just going to read a little bit of Young's bio for everybody before he gets started. So here we go. He is going to demonstrate his use of color and light to convey both his story about paintings and the emotion he puts in the paintings. Young was born in Canton, China, and he immigrated to the U.S. when he was about 12. He developed a keen interest in drawing at an early age and pursued his dream of being an artist by attending LaGuardia High School, which is a prestigious school for music and arts in New York City. He continued his education at the Pratt Institute in New York, majoring in illustration and minoring in art history. When he graduated, he was offered an internship at Disney Animation Studios in Florida. He later joined the Walt Disney Company and has worked on feature films with them. After completing the Disney's The Princess and the Frog project, Young was ready to take a different direction and focus on his passion for traditional painting. He takes his inspiration from many different forms of art, but none has more influence on him than the early California Impressionists. His subject matter varies from landscapes to portraits to still life. He says, here's a quote, "Painting is my addiction. It is something that I am naturally drawn to and as essential and simple as breathing to me. There are 2 fundamental elements which I strive for with my paintings. The first is a solid foundation in draftsmanship, color, and composition. The second is being able to express and communicate my feelings with each piece." So there you have a little bit about Young. And take it away, Young.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind intro. It's so nice to not have to manage your like which camera recording, all those things. I actually run my own teaching class, and it was stressful to do all that. Now I can just focus on painting, and everything is set up. I'd like to thank Andrea for inviting me to do the demo, and thanks for being here. It's an honor for me to share with you some of the things that what makes me me. So I feel like such an honor to be here and share that with you. And I want to thank Britt for organize just to set up the link and all that, because sometimes even the the time zone. It's all like, oh my God, there's different time zones that I feel like it's so now I feel like it's I could just focus here to share with you a little bit about the things that what I like about painting, that what why I want to spend so much, like this is all I want to do. So a little bit about my experience growing up in China. I actually go a little bit back. I came to this country when I was 12. I went from junior high school, and then college, all in New York. And then after that, I went to work for Disney for about 14 years. My first film was Pocahontas, and my last film was The Princess and the Frog. And then and then after that, I moved up here to Portland, Oregon, and uh, been a stay-at-home dad for a long time. And now my kids are all out in college now, so I now have I spend more time painting and teaching. So a little bit about Disney when I was there. I feel like the thing that I learned a lot from working for Disney, mostly because not so much for like learning how to paint, but more like what is the purpose of this painting that you're about to start? What makes this worth your time to if you're painting in plein air or from a photograph or for what's in front of you? It's really about telling a story. This reference photo that I took, I actually want to share with a little bit about that. Let me see if I could share with you. Uh, is there a way I can share this? Let me see if I could do that. Britt, can you?
So I just made
Right
you
here.
host.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the photo I want to share with everybody. This is a photo that I took when I was visiting Southern California, and it was just literally like maybe a month ago. I was there visiting family, and it was during the time when they have a huge storm, and even the California told me, "Oh, you came at the wrong time. This is like lots of rain." But to me, it was like, "Oh my God, that was perfect." This is the place. These are the locations that I used to go when I lived there. And so these are the San Gabriel Mountains, and we're looking right now. We're looking up north, and the light is coming from west, which is from left to right, and you can see that this is the late afternoon light. If you are standing there, literally, you have maybe 15 minutes max of this kind of lighting, and it changes really fast, and the sun was very low to the horizon, and you could see the intensity of the light, and then you could see these clouds are picking up with all the color. You can see this part right here is where the really saturated red sunlight can feel. It's bathing in that sun, in that warm light. And then here in the shadow, you could see it's much darker and a lot cooler. And a lot of it is because this is actually reflecting some of the color from that sky because this is in the shadow. And this all here, it's in the shadow. And if you look a little bit closer, you can see that even these distant mountains, you can see that this is in the shadow, and this is all baked in the warm light. And then you can see the distant cloud, or like much cooler and very extreme uh, uh, in terms of the color temperature. So I hope this will give you some idea of the feeling that I'm trying to capture. That really light and also the atmosphere. There's a lot of moistures in the clouds, and you can see the this same here. It's very a lot of kind of what do you call those atmospheric perspective. It's much intense. The color is a lot more intense in the foreground, and then as it goes further, it gets cooler. So you can see that even the color here gets much stronger, and then it gets faded out because these clouds actually are facing the sky. So you can see it's a little lighter, and this is a little bit darker because it's covered by and this is the very most intense color, even though the clouds are similar in color. So I'm going to show you all that using like something. I'm gonna show you how to simplify all that, and then the end result is to create a painting that captures all the feel, the impression that I feel when I was capturing, took the photo. Uh, so hopefully that will give you some idea of the background of behind what is it that I'm trying to accomplish. So when I start painting, like how do you start a painting like that with all this emotion, all this color? So I'm gonna switch to a different camera right here. This is the. Can everybody see this? Okay. Uh, Before I go into the specific about how do you capture that, I want to take a minute or two just to walk you guys through about my materials. I promise I'll go back to the basic how to capture that, but I just happen to have all this set up already. So I wanted to make sure that I have a chance to show to talk about it before I put them away. So start out with the brushes. These three groups of brushes that I have here, the middle part here is the group that I use the most. These are Chinese calligraphy brushes. This group is the traditional watercolor mop that you can find, and this in most of the art store. But this group, it's a little bit more challenging to find. You buy most of these online. And I will talk a lot about these as I do the demo, so it's much easier for me to see how these brushes are different. And this group is mostly for polishing for the last 30% of the painting, where I would bring these in, and occasionally I would use a palette knife. And then, so these are mostly very fine point. They hold a lot of very little amount of water. These group holds a lot of water, so I use these for the block-in for the I would say 70% of the painting using this group. Okay. Now I am going to put these away. So this palette is a porcelain palette. I actually use a porcelain palette. In the past, I also used plastic, and I will explain the difference once I get the demo going. And it's like I said, it's much easier if I show you rather than just talking about it. And it's easy once I get the demo going. I'll explain that. And then the pigment that I use, it's actually by a company, local company here at M. Graham, and also Daniel Smith. These are the two that I use. They high quality pigments. They're really, really good, and they're also local company. So I don't they don't pay me to do this. I just I just want to let you know they're really, really good paint company. And then for the paper, I use Arches watercolor paper. For this demo, I use a 140 pound uh, um, cold press. Okay, and Arches makes a smooth, the hot press, and also the rough. And for this one, I'm using a cold press. And the size is 9 by 12. I feel like this is a good amount of time for me to get a demo done to a point where I'm happy with it. And then I use these newsprint paper sketches to do my value study. And I will talk a lot about these value studies in a second. So now I also use these are vine charcoals that I use to do the value study. Um, and I will also talk about this specifically once I get it going. Um, Now, one more thing before I start. This is just a regular masking tape that I use, and I know there's a lot of people use like those painters, those blue tapes, I feel like they're very distracting. It throws me off when I have these blue. So I tend to stay away from using those color tapes. It really messed up my color. Sometimes like if I have a blue tape over it, my eyes adjust to that. So therefore, if I remove the blue tape, it's like my painting's different. So I always encourage my student to use a more neutral color, so that way, at least you're not messed up your color. Okay. Uh, so for those of you that have questions, please feel free to ask questions. Like I said, Britt will hopefully you could ask and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So why do I use the do a value study? Value study is something that I earlier I gave you a little bit background about the reference photo. The reason, all those reasons behind painting this is very complicated. You have all these feelings and atmosphere, light and details. It's so on. So it's just very like where do you start? So I want I think for those of you who don't know, this is something that I learned when I was in school, but I got really forced to work on this when I was at Disney. And the directors always ask us to use the least amount of time to get our ideas across. And so this is where I find the having a value study, looking at this reference, it does not matter if it's a portrait, if it's a still life, it always works the same way. Look at what you have in front of you or a reference photo. Try to break this down into something that you can see and immediately recognize. And as when I said recognize, it's like is it a light tone or mid tone and a dark tone? So if I have three square here, between the two, if I ask you which one is the darkest, this is the darkest, right? Which one is the medium? This is the medium, right? Which one's the lightest? This is the lightest. So it's very easy to identify. It's not like I don't know, but here, if I show you something like this, which one is darker? Like it's kind of vague. But between these three, they are, it's very easy to see that, but if you have to tell the difference between, it gets kind of vague, right? So when you do a value study to identify your light tone and mid tone, it's actually something that I want everybody to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes to decide on that. And so let's see if I can start. If I draw a uh, divide this in half, it's very easy for me to see that this dark part, this is the part that I am looking at right now. So this is the reason why I love Vine charcoal. I could get it done really quick. You see how now I am looking at two tones, light tone, mid tone. And if I put this side by side, you can see, hey, I'm halfway there. Now I just need to figure out where my midtone is because I know I can identify my light tone. So if I look at this, and if you look at the shape here, it has more like that. So if I just look at this, I pretty much can see this part right here, this part right here. This is my midtone as well. Okay. So light tone, midtone. What's missing here? My dark tone. If you look at the reference photo, the dark tone and mid-tone are this part can be a mid-tone or a dark tone, but I decided that I'm gonna make this as my dark tone because this is the part that's in the shadow. So I want to assign that part in the shadow a little bit darker. So that way I have my now this become my dark tone and this part right here becomes my midtone. And this meaning including this part in the light. And the shadow part is where everything uh, um, can you can see how that the relationship between your light tone, your mid tone, and dark tone, it becomes very obvious. You could you could see if I just erase um, all that, you can see now this is the structure, the value structure that um, it's very important for me to identify because right now I these are the shapes that put together and they are each shape has a its purpose. So if I paint this in the the right shape, the right color variation, and then if I paint this, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything's gonna come together and hopefully get your message across or you tell your story. So some of you may ask, what about those color clouds and the sky? Where's the difference? So the if you look at the values, they are very close, but it's just this is divided because of the using color inside of value. So I decided to group the light tone and the clouds that in the in the light. So I would keep the sky and the clouds, it's pretty much the same thing. So when I'm painting, the actually painting, I would actually have a color variation. I will make the clouds a little bit warmer and the background of the sky will be a little bit cooler. And then if you look at the reference photo, actually, Brett, I have a question about does the members have access to the digital file? Because if you look at the digital file, you will be able to see a lot more variations in there.
I no, nope.
No. Okay. So,
They
did I
can
send?
after, but not right now.
Okay. For those of you that want to watch this, or if you want to, you could look at download the image, and you'll see because this is a printout. It's actually you do lose a lot more variations in there. But so this is the idea that I want everybody to kind of keep an open mind and 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 see how this the demo will unfold. Okay, so now I have my value study planned out, and again, this is not I'm not taking into consideration the details in here. I am simply mapping out my big shapes. Okay, and with that, I am ready to um, transfer the drawing onto my watercolor paper. All right, so let's see. All right. Hey, same thing here. If I divide this, this helps me to see where the big shape is, right? So the big shapes are located. So you can see that main shape. This is the shape that kind of that S shape right here. And again, just looking at that little bump right there, again, very small shape. And this is where that those clouds, colorful clouds are sitting in the back there. And then if you watch this is the area where the distant mountains, and this is where that um, clouds in the shadow, like this part right here. So usually, if you I guess the more drawing that you have, if you have these drawings that to draw every single cloud out, it will be what's the word? Uh, it will paralyze you because you're trying to do so many things, all the detail. It's just gonna bog down the way you paint, and you're not as confident. You have to feel like you're painting around the subjects. And if I'm looking here, like it's just really looking at a painting shapes. So you can see that this is the shadow part that I was talking about right here. And also the dark, this is my darks. And then my midtone here, my light tone here. And this part also part of the midtone. Can you guys see that? So if you put this side by side, I I'm not looking for an exactness of my big shapes, but it's just a but if you but I'm more interested in capturing the I guess the impression this particular reference photo. Okay, and you'll notice um, looking at the reference photo, this one feels a lot more cooler than this. It's almost got that very cool green and blue and purple in the back, and then this almost feels red and I would say more of a green, yellow green, very saturated color. So I'm going to start out with a light tone from the sky. I'm going to do a wash all the way from top to bottom. And then for this, the color clouds, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't run into the cloud. So I want to stop there and then pick up with a much warmer light tone clouds and a lot more saturated this way. And then once I'm done, I'm gonna the next thing I'm gonna focus is this the midtone. Midtone it's where the lid part of this mountain and also the clouds that's in the sky. So because this is darker than the sky. So this is our midtone. Remember our midtone. So I would start out from the start out with the background first, the light tone, and then our midtone, and then finally I'm gonna go in with my dark tone. Okay? Am I going too fast? Any
Nope.
questions so far?
I think it's perfect, and I don't have any questions for we just had a question about I don't think I have the image, the electronic image, but I said I will send it out to people after, so that they can really take a close look at that image and see those details, so they can
I will
compare
send
with
it to
what you're thinking.
you right now if you have.
Okay, yeah, if it's easy for you to send it right now, then I can try to put it in the chat.
Yep, I will do that right now.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you if I didn't know if it would be easy to send. That would
No,
be great.
I'll do it right now. It's easy.
Okay.
Just let's see. All right, let me reply, and I'm gonna attach an image. Let's see, right here. Okay, here we go. All right, there you go. Got it?
I'm sure I will. As soon as I get it, I'll pop it in. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about uh, what do you call that? Your palette. I actually have a plastic palette here compared to my dirty. This is let me clean this first. Um, and you could try this if you don't have one. I encourage you to go find a porcelain plate that you don't need or that you plan to not use for eating. Try this, okay? So the so when let's say I'm mixing color, and this is what you get when you use a plastic palette. You can see all these, it's beating up like it looks like it has oil. And but if you use a porcelain palette, you can see how nice the it won't do this kind of stuff. Do you see what I mean? So what happened is, let's say if you plan to mix some color, you can see how, look, it's just it's not so. But here, look at this, and you could really go like have a lot of fun. And but this one really it's very smooth. It's not doing this kind of stuff. So for that reason, if I'm painting at my studio, I actually want to use something like this. And again, you could use any porcelain plate. In fact, I always bring extra so my students can, if they don't have a palette, they could really go and like really have a lot of ways you can mix the color. It's just amazing what you can. So if you don't have what do you call that? Porcelain palette. Go get a porcelain plate. It's great. So when I mix color, oftentimes I mix one big puddle of color, and then I would just kind of like mix it, and then like, oh, this is one puddle. And then I would actually go in and say, hey, you know what? I'll make one side a little bit cooler, and then I'll make one side a little bit warmer, so you could see now I could have one color, but then they have different temperatures, and but they're similar because this is the same pool of color that I use to for that mixture. And my colors, most of the time, I don't use crazy color. I don't use like all these different uh, color. And I like to mix all my color in this one puddle of color, but they can be switch from a, let's say, a blue to a more even more blue, a more, so you can see it now within this puddle. You can see that there's variations in that, but this one is much cooler. So that's the reason why I choose a porcelain palette. Okay.
Hey,
And now
Young,
yes,
I've
go
got a
ahead.
question.
Yep.
So if you're mixing paint like that, so if I were painting, I would be worried that I would have a color just how I want it, and then I would run out of it and it would be mixed with the other colors. I mean, are you just constantly mixing and approximating?
Yes. So a painting, just remember, a color is not, it's not an exact science. If you understand, and the way we perceive color too, it shifts depending on what kind of background that you use. So if I am painting uh, um, like let's say if I have an orange, but if I have something, a color like blue around it, it's going to make this orange a lot more orange. However, if I have like a red next to it, the orange will no longer be as red because of that. So I'm not worried about the exactness of the color. I'm more interested in, so if I have a soup of color like this, I tend to mix a lot more, knowing that, okay, so if I have a sky that will, I need to cover from here, I'm gonna make sure I make a big puddle, and then I would just adjust as I go. And I will always, it will, no matter how much I shift, it always be have a mixture of this puddle to start with, rather than start everything from scratch.
Okay. That
Okay?
makes so much sense. Thank you. And then,
Yep.
I sorry if I missed this. Did you tell us what type of paint you're using?
This is M. Graham and also Daniel Smith. These are the
Okay.
two that I use mostly, and like occasionally I would like use other brand, but I find that these two brands are really exceptional. The pigment, it's really high quality. Okay, one more thing I want to talk about before I start painting. So, some of you may not know this. The design of this Chinese calligraphy brush is a little different than these traditional watercolor mob. Is that they are the hair? It's actually a lot um, shorter, and also it's a little shorter on the side, and typically it's the center part is the longest. So you always have this really pointy shape. And even but with the Chinese calligraphy brushes, um, the hair actually it's always the same length from all side, and so this is a round brush, and the same thing for this one too. Like if I mix, you'll see if I kind of work at this, you'll see that this can turn into a no longer a round brush. Also, it serves as a flat brush. And if I just work at it now, I have a round brush to work with. So sometimes I actually use it to for a specific reason. It's a very flexible, and because of the hair, it actually give me holds a lot of water. So I tend to use this, favor this more, and it tend to have a certain look to that, kind of have a that calligraphic look to it. So and this is something that it's intentional, and I like the what the brush can accomplish by using that brush. But I still use these mop because they hold so much water, and sometimes just switch around to get a different feel. Okay. All right. With that, I think I'm ready to start. Any other questions? Okay, we are good to go. So this water right here, you can see it's kind of dirty, but that's okay. It's a big puddle, and I'm actually very picky about my light color because if your brush is not clean, for example, especially these light, I'm painting the light tone. Make sure you take the like. If I do that, you can see that this actually creating like this is enough to contaminate your light color. Just this like some of the a dirty brush comes from like the root where your brush is not clean. So I would actually encourage everybody to get a clean brush, right? So this is how I mix my color. Um, let's see. Get some clean water. I also have another uh, water that is clean other than this. Oh, I'm gonna swap out the dirty water. This is my clean water now. Somewhat clean. Okay, so get some clean water, and the first layer, the first color that I'm mixing is the sky, and then where the cloud is. So I'm gonna start out with this is I believe this is ultramarine blue. And if you look at this is just ultramarine blue by itself. No other pigment, just um, ultramarine blue by itself. Okay. Now you'll notice the top of the from the reference, you could see um, that it's a little cooler over here, but as it comes further down this way, it gets warmer and less saturated. So what I'm going to do is get another brush, and typically this is how I would mix my color. And you can actually dilute water and put just a, a little bit of the opposite end of the color, which is the complement of ultramarine blue. You can see by me putting there, you can see that the color gets warmer and less saturated. You see that? You see it? We are talking about two extreme here. It's from here to here. But what if I just add a little bit of white in it? This is the Chinese white. I'm gonna add some Chinese white to that, and you'll see that right away it feels much more kind of has a milky color to that. So this is the part where I some people said, well, I don't they don't use white, and this is the part that I feel like it's important for me to use it, because if I don't use it, it won't have that kind of a powdery, a little bit more desaturated and um, more. I don't even know how to describe that. But so anyway, so this is the part that does not have the top part does not have any of that mixture. But towards the end, right here, that is where I needed that white, and you'll see I have enough paint to kind of last to cover from top to bottom to here, where the clouds, I'm going to mix another puddle of color for the orange yellow color. Are we ready?
Yes. Is the Chinese white opaque?
The Chinese white is not. It's semi-opaque. It's actually, if you try that, you'll see once you put some color into it. It's if you don't have it, the color just feels very weak or desaturated. But if you add Chinese white to it, it give it a little bit semi-opaque feel to that.
Okay.
So it's got a kind of a creamy feel that you just cannot get, but if you just mixing with water. So I encourage everybody to give it a try, and we'll go from there. So now
Okay.
that I feel like now I have my color mix enough, so I'm gonna go work my way from top to bottom. And then before I do that, I actually want to put a little bit of like a this is a those magic to pick up those rubber cement remover. I put it right here, so give it a little bit of a kind of an elevation, so that way the incline, so that the gravity it will continue to float this way. And so I think I'm ready to go. So I don't worry about these dark shape, these clouds. I just pretend that they're not there. So I'm just gonna work my way down, and then it'll get actually I could see that um and mix a lot of color, a big puddle. And then now I'm gonna add some of those in there. And you see that I'm gonna add a little bit more.
We have some questions on the colors. Which orange are you using?
So
Or
this
what
is
is it?
this is the same puddle of color, but I added a little bit of Chinese white and also the cadmium yellow, I mean orange, to
Cadmium
warm
orange.
things up a little.
Okay. And
So
someone wanted to know if the Chinese white was Daniel Smith.
I believe that that's M-gram. Sorry.
Okay.
So now I feel like this is the that's as far as I'm gonna go. I don't want to go this part right here. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to this stronger color. This is still to me. It's a light tone. Do you recall? Just want to refresh everybody's memory. So now I'm painting. Uh, I'm gonna mix a pot of color. This warm orange, red, and then to the orange yellow over here. So that is another puddle that I'm gonna mix. And this is again another mixture which I'm gonna have clean this up the bottom half of this this part right here. Very saturated color. And then as it goes to this side, it gets a little bit more yellow and less saturated. So I'm gonna add some Chinese white to that. And you'll see this once I add that, it always has that kind of a creamy feel to that. So to me, that's and this side does not have it. So all right, are we ready? Okay. Moving across. I don't want I want to leave that white. I want to save that white for the so that it won't bleed into the sky. And I have to be very careful about this area because I don't want to paint all the way over here because if I have extended the cloud, when I go back with the more intense color, the first the cloud layer, it was going to affect the vibrancy of the color. So I want to be very careful not to make that too extend too far. So I'm going to vary the color just a little bit, not as intense as it comes this way. Okay. So this is my first tone. And you'll notice if you look at this way, um, this part right here, ignore this shape right here. And the next color I'm going to mix is this group of color right here. So this group will be the most saturated color. At the same time, I'm going to have to clean this up
Young, while you're doing that, I had
Yeah.
another brush question.
Yeah.
Is there a certain brand that you use for the calligraphy brushes?
If you just Google like Chinese calligraphy brushes, there's no like there's so many companies that makes it. If you or you could mostly it's really coming from China actually. But they're pretty inexpensive, and it's not that difficult. But the shipping, all that's going to cost a lot more, and the price of the brush is actually not that expensive, but it's just the shipping is gonna cost you an arm and a leg. So okay, so now the sky is almost kind of uh at the point where it's almost feels like it's getting ready to it's drying. So I could use take advantage of and hit the color while it's wet, or I'm gonna wait until this dries a little bit and focus on the this area, and then come back to it and we wet this area. So I'm gonna do that, and for now, I'm gonna work on this sections of it. Okay, mid-tone. So whatever I put down, it has to be darker than what I have here. And this is what I mean when mixing my green. This is a warm uh, I don't even know what color. It's a cadmium yellow, I believe. And I'm gonna mix a little bit of that. So I'm getting this green, and then oh, this is too dark. Okay, now we're getting and the red.
What type of red is that?
This is a pyro red. Okay, so let's start with
While you're working, I'll just mention that I did put the image in the chat. So if anyone wants to click open the chat and take a look at the digital image, you can do that.
so this color is pretty saturated. And I can always go back in and darken even more. So this is that warm glow in the back. Okay. And moving across this side. gets a little bit warmer. And it's on my mid-tone. Okay. Moving up this way. And this is the part where I'm gonna cover this part. I'm gonna spray this a little bit to wet the sky a little bit. Then now I'm working my way up. So this is that same puddle of color that I mixed earlier. It's a strong color. Okay. So it's about time to go in with my dark tone now. So my mid-tone, actually, I need to actually go back in and maybe darken this, but I'm going to use my dark tone for once I go in, once I mix this puddle color, I will actually put some of the darks in here to and also complete that dark shape. So for the dark color, it's a lot more forgiving because uh, it's kind of, this is a phthalo blue. I want to mix a big pot of color first. So the phthalo blue is a very staining color. Um, but if I mix some of the green, you will see right away it actually give me an overall the color and the value that I'm looking for. But also at the same time, I want this puddle of purple and a green. I want some of it has a more of a purple, this purple, and then this also has a little bit of red and more towards the red side. So you can see um, within here to here to here, I could use those color that apply for the my dark tone. Now I'm moving down a little bit more saturated. So I have to wait for because the dark colors are interesting because they uh, I cannot I cannot just mix a dark one tone um and then hit it that because the dark color, if you want to get it a little darker, you can go back in and give it a little bit more saturation. So I could actually, while this is wet, I could go in and really add some stronger, um, more intense color, but slightly darker. And I could build this up for for the dark area. And then this is the another dark area where I could actually go in with much darker and more intense color. to use a smaller brush for those smaller shapes. So this is drying, and now it's time for me to bring out those edges. Uh, these are the small shapes. And smaller dark shapes, but they're much warmer. So this is the dark um, puddle that I'm interested in. And then moving across, but this is still somewhat wet, so I'm gonna avoid that. Still too wet. So while I'm waiting, I can bring out those really intense color. Still wet enough for me to put darker color over here. If you look at the reference photo, you'll notice there's some darker shapes. So these are small shapes that variations of I would say of the in the shadows. And I'm gonna use this palette knife, and I like to see some of those foreground light. So this will give me some idea of the textures in the foreground. So while I'm waiting for this to dry, it's time for me to tackle the background right around here, all the those clouds.
It's about 8:15, just to give you
Okay,
a notice about what time it is.
I am going to make things a little bit easier. I have a dryer here. I'm gonna dry it quickly and before I don't want everybody to wait to see the paint dry, so I'm gonna speed up with a dryer.
Okay, great. I was wondering if you ever use one.
All right, so now we're back. Now it's time to add some still darker variations in the dark area. Or I could actually, I'll do this part first, and then I'll work on the cloud. And I always want to have variations of just some of the the dark shapes. And again, these shapes are random. I loosely follow the reference, but I'm not trying to match I'm just trying to add some variations in them.
Question, are you using the same brush you've been using?
I'm using actually a combination of still mostly Asian brush. These are the brushes that I use, but
Okay.
occasionally I add a small ones to add the small details.
Okay.
Um, so now I'm going to give it much more.
What are the dimensions of this painting, Young?
9 by 12. So moving on to the cloud. So I want to also spray this so that way it um, allows me to have some softer edges. And this is the this, Chinese white with a little bit of ultramarine blue and also this, I don't even know, magenta. So I'm gonna put in those softer. Even stronger color. So this is the final touch. And so once I have all my three values are locked in, um, this is the part where I could just step away and come back to it later and not necessarily try to finish everything at one time. And this will allow some time for me to look at that and make an honest assessment rather than just because right now I've been painting for a long time and I feel like, hey, my color sense may not be uh, as accurate. I need to step away from this to have an honest assessment. So once these small shapes uh, put it put in, then the rest is just trying to um, create much more smaller adjustment. And then when I come back, all the subtlety, because and I know I'm pretty sure this is you know this is the center of interest, the way the everything is laid out. The center of interest is going to be right around here, and I'm going to make sure that all the smaller details, the all the how the shapes of um, these patches of darker shape go right around that, and the softness of those clouds. I'm gonna make sure I take the time to clean those up, and also the some of the bounce like where the front of the clouds, all those things will be slowly. I'll take my time to make that adjustment to make sure that those feels the get to the I guess the impression that I'm looking for. Um, so I will also when I'm done, I will actually this is about um 60, 70% done. And I will spend depending on the complexity, like I would actually I might spend maybe an hour, a couple of hours to polish this piece to get to the point that I'm happy with. So usually I think it's safe to say like um 70% of the painting is done 30% of the time. And 30%, the last 30% will take 70% of the time. So this is how a lot of people say, "Oh, I thought it's almost done," but then like to be able to keep the energy, all those in here, I have to think about, okay, if I'm gonna make an adjustment, how I have to make sure I maintain the all the mark picking that I put down instead of just erase this or try to match that. I have to decide which area to keep and which area I need to knock down and where do I put all my details? Is it just all the way up front or like surrounding area? How much do I want to show some of these, and how much do I want to incorporate in here? And what about the distant clouds? So those are the things that I will spend a little bit more time to step away and then come back and uh, give me an honest assessment. And typically, I will finish the painting within if within another couple of days. So I will I will be able to have a much good a better idea on which area I want to work on. But before I quit, I have to ask myself how close is to what I have in mind, and if it's not close at all, then I would say, oh, it's better for me to start a new one rather than just continue to hopefully add more details will fix the painting. But in this case, I feel like I'm getting pretty close. I need to incorporate some of the cooler blue, I mean the green in here because I feel like this feels a little bit too cool for me. I want to add some variations of that. And if I have another 5 minutes, how much time do I have, Britt?
Yeah, we're at 8:30, but if you're able to stick around for a little bit, I mean, anyone who can hang out and watch, I think we're happy to keep watching if you're available.
So 5 more minutes, I promise.
Okay, that's great. Thank
5 more
you.
minutes. So you see how these shapes, I'm gonna lift this out a little bit, and simply just using a one of those brush that I mentioned earlier. These are synthetic brush, and I just gently lift some of those shape, and then pick it up with my uh paper towel, and you can see right away I could adding some more variations in there now. And if I just um, bring out some of that and incorporate the warmer and the variation instead of just one blue shape, this allows me to add some more variation to what I currently have. And then go back in with a slightly this is more it would be more like a glaze. So this way I have some variation in there. So this is pretty close to what I have in mind. And again, there will be a lot more details that I'm gonna add to take this one to polish this piece. So I will for the next couple of days. Hopefully, I'll have everything ready and share with everybody the finished version would look like. And I'll take a photo of this current stage, and then when I'm done, I'll take another photo of the finished painting, so everybody will get to see exactly how this would look like.
That sounds
Uh,
great. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
so with that, I think I can say I can wrap up this.
Great. Thank you
Okay.
so much. So many great positive comments coming in. Everyone's really enjoyed hearing about your process and watching you paint, and people have really learned a lot.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being so patient. Again, this is just one way of painting, and at the same time, don't feel like this this idea also it's applicable to in oil, gouache, any. The idea is the same thing. Break up what uh, the the complexity. What always have a good idea where you want to your painting. What kind of message you want to share with your audience. What kind of feeling, the impression, and go from there. If you do not have that, most likely all you're trying to do is you will be trying so hard to match your reference photo or trying to create that. But if you have a message like, oh, I really want to create that impression, then actually it's a lot more. You'll find reasons to add those subtleties in there. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Great
Does anybody
demo.
else have any questions before we say goodbye to Young?
No.
Okay. You're all good.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
we
much.
appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for attending and have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Great.